Girl accuses adoptive father of abuse for 17 years, the truth behind the camera shocks the police.
Hello everyone, enjoy these relaxing moments while you watch.
New York, winter. The sky was ashen, like an ancient curse hanging over the city. Gusts of wind lashed against the thick glass windows of the mansion, where Dr. Edward Smith, a man hailed by the press for the past 10 years as the beacon of compassion, resided. But no one knew that behind those limbo wood doors was a sealed-off hell, the place where Anna's life without escape began. "Anna, come here." His voice echoed from the living room, calm, but chilling. Anna, just 6 years old, shuffled out from the pitch-dark, windowless room. Bruises still marked her hands from the day before, punishment for dropping a glass cup. "Yes, sir." Edward smiled, his eyes lighting up as if preparing to perform a delicate surgery. "Do you know why I called you here today?" Anna shook her head gently. Edward slowly picked up a metal coat hanger from the rack, twirling it in his hand. "Because you still haven't learned how to be quiet. Mary told me you asked too many questions yesterday. I just wanted to know why I'm not allowed to go to school like other kids." Edward stepped closer and placed a hand on Anna's shoulder. "Because you're special. God gave you to me, not to the outside world." Then came the whistle of metal cutting through air. Anna collapsed onto the cold tile floor. Blood oozed from the back of her hand, but she didn't cry. She was used to it. It had been 4 years since Edward adopted her, a little orphan left at a hospital doorstep. "Get up. Clean the bathroom. And remember, don't speak to anyone." Mary, the old housemaid, stood silently in the corner. She had seen this scene 100 times but had never interfered. Just once, long ago, she had spoken up. "Sir, she's still so little. She needs to be raised with love." Edward looked at her with icy eyes. "If you feel this house doesn't suit you, Mary, the door is always open. But don't expect anyone to believe the words of an uneducated old woman when I am the chief physician of the biggest hospital in New York." Since then, Mary only bowed her head. Every night, Anna's door was locked from the outside. She slept on an old mattress on the floor, with no pillow, no blanket. Her meals consisted of cold rice, chicken bones, and moldy bread. Mary would quietly leave a bit of milk in her bowl when she could, as a silent act of repentance. But Anna never dared say thank you. Edward forbade her from speaking even to the house cat. One night, at midnight, her door suddenly opened. Anna jolted awake. Edward stood there in white silk pajamas, holding a small flashlight. "We need to talk, Anna." "Yes, sir." Edward sat beside her, stroking her hair in a lullaby-soft voice. "You're a gift God gave to me. Do you know how precious that is?" Anna trembled, gripping the torn edge of her blanket. I don't know. Trust me, Anna. The outside world is filthy. Only here, with me, are you truly safe. Remember that." "Yes, sir." The next morning, she was locked in the storage closet under the stairs for talking too much. No light. No air. Anna banged on the door and screamed until her voice broke, to no avail. When Anna turned 8, Emma Thompson, a trainee teacher from the international school, was invited by Edward to his mansion to discuss a community education project. While he went inside to retrieve documents, Anna peeked from behind a curtain. For the first time in years, her eyes met those of a stranger, someone smiling at her. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Emma crouched down. Anna hesitated. "Anna. What grade are you in?" Anna shook her head. "I'm not allowed to go to school." Emma frowned. "Why not? Who takes care of you?" "Sir Edward. He says I don't need to learn anything. He says I'm his gift." Emma froze. Before she could ask more, Edward returned with a radiant smile. "Sorry, Emma. The girl's bothering you. Anna, go back inside." But I said go. That night, Anna had boiling water poured over her hands. You must learn not to betray those who love you. That's what Edward said as he wrapped her blisters in gauze. Under the yellow light, her hands were red and swollen. One winter evening, Anna escaped to the balcony. She curled up in an old towel, staring down at the glittering lights of New York below. She whispered. If I had a real mom, what would she do? If someone knew I was here, would they come save me? Mary stood behind her, silent. That night, she left a sugar packet in Anna's soup bowl. On the paper, 2 words: don't forget. In the years that followed, Anna was like a shadow in the mansion. Edward kept donating money to charities, appearing on TV to talk about fatherly love, receiving international awards for his service to unfortunate children. You're the model of humanitarianism, a reporter told him at an awards ceremony. Edward smiled. Nothing is more valuable than seeing a child find light in their life again. At home, Anna was banned from eating in the kitchen. She sat in the hallway, nibbling dry bread, watching through the window as Edward dined and celebrated with officials and elites. One evening, Edward called her into his study. We have guests tomorrow. You won't be seen. Understood? Yes, sir. And if I catch you spying, there will be consequences. Yes, sir. Stop. Edward slowly approached and placed a hand on her neck. You know I love you, right? Anna held her breath. Yes, sir. That night, she dreamed she was a doll taken apart piece by piece. No pain, only emptiness. The news of Edward Smith's death from a stroke spread across New York like wildfire through a dry forest. They called him the Martyr Doctor, a man who devoted his life to orphans, who passed away in the operating room after a 10-hour surgery. National television replayed images of Edward in his white coat, with kind eyes and a gentle smile, while the voiceover mourned. A father to hundreds of children. A heart for the community. Edward Smith, a shining example of humanitarian medicine in America. His funeral was held privately at Greenwood Cemetery. The casket was closed, draped with the hospital's flag. Attendees included the elite, hospital directors, politicians, journalists, clergy, and well-known media figures. A platinum-haired woman whispered to her companion. I heard he once saved the mayor's son. Yes, and he funded 3 orphan centers too. An angel on earth. The priest stood at the wooden pulpit, his voice deep amidst the winter wind. Today, we bid farewell not just to a physician. We lose a father, a guide for lost souls. Edward lived with the belief that every child deserves love. A scream cut through the sermon like a blade. He was a monster. Everyone turned. A young woman with disheveled hair, pale face, and fiery red eyes stormed the funeral, ignoring the guards. Bastard. 17 years. 17 years and no one saved me. Who is that? Oh my God, who is she? What is she saying? Is she crazy? The girl was Anna. She stood in the rain-soaked courtyard, shoes caked in mud, clothes wrinkled. Her eyes locked on the ebony casket. You call him a humanitarian doctor? A father? You have no idea what he did to me. Security. Remove her. No. I will speak. Right here. He beat me, starved me, locked me up like an animal. Every night he stroked my hair and said, "You're the gift God gave to me," while his hands. A loud slap rang out. Catherine Brooks, chairwoman of the medical board, had just slapped Anna in front of everyone. Shut up, you disgrace. You smear a dead man's name. I've known Edward for over 20 years. Who are you? Some lunatic from the streets? Anna staggered but didn't fall. She let out a bitter laugh, a laugh like someone whose soul had just been torn apart. You know nothing. None of you do. You only see what he let you see. His charity. His orphan rescues. Then tell me, where are the 12 girls who once lived in that mansion? Get her out of here. I'm Anna. I lived with him since I was 2. I am the witness. The living proof of evil. Blood trickled from the corner of Anna's mouth from being yanked too hard. But she still screamed. He's a monster. The police arrived and took Anna to the station. She didn't resist. Her eyes were dry, her hands steady. In the interrogation room, the lead lieutenant asked, "Do you have any proof to accuse Edward Smith? Besides your story?" "No." "You realize you're slandering a deceased man?" "It's not slander. It's just the truth no one wants to believe." "Do you have a history of mental illness?" "Maybe I would, if I'd lived a few more years in his house." After several hours, the case was closed due to lack of evidence and vague personal motives. But not everyone looked away. Andrew Harris, a young officer recently assigned to New York, sat silently in front of his computer screen, replaying the footage of the funeral service. "Anna," he whispered, then opened the old records. No valid birth certificate. No school. No vaccinations. He turned to his colleague, Lieutenant Rachel. "Did you believe what that girl said at the funeral?" "No. Absolutely not. Edward once saved my husband from cancer. But. She said too many specific things. It didn't feel made up. And her eyes, did you see them? That's not the look of someone lying." Andrew looked out the window, his chest tightening. "I'm going to look into this. Alone. Off the record. Be careful. You're touching a national icon." The media began to split. The New York Times ran a piece. A girl claiming to be Edward Smith's foster daughter caused chaos at his funeral, leveling heavy accusations without evidence. Online comments exploded. Viper. Using a man's death to gain attention. If she was telling the truth, why didn't she speak up before? Out of fear, or waiting for him to be unable to defend himself? Look into her eyes. I believe her. All women hallucinate sometimes, don't they? Some independent journalists began asking questions. Why, in all 17 years, has no one outside Edward's staff ever seen Anna? Why is there no picture of Anna at any award ceremony, when Edward always highlighted fostering children? Why is her academic record completely blank? That night, Anna curled up in a pay-by-the-hour motel room in the Lower East Side. The room was damp, the light flickering. An old newspaper with Edward's photo lay on the floor. She stepped on his face, her cracked lips curling into a bitter smile. "You're dead. But I'm still alive. And I won't be silent anymore." Her phone rang. An unknown number. "Hello. Are you Anna Smith?" "Depends on who's asking." "This is Officer Andrew Harris. I need to meet with you. Privately. About the so-called 17 years of hell." Edward's mansion still stood like an ancient fortress, cut off from the world by thick walls and sealed memories. Andrew Harris stopped his car at the black iron gate, holding an internal search warrant and signed by his superiors. "You're insane, Andrew," Lieutenant Rachel had told him the day before. "No one's going to let you dig up a national hero's grave over a mentally unstable girl's word." "Then I'll dig it up myself." Inside the mansion, everything was covered in a thin layer of dust, as if time had frozen the moment Edward collapsed in the hospital. Andrew walked slowly through the long hallway, lined with portraits of Edward alongside politicians, orphans, priests, all smiling. He turned on his flashlight, sweeping through the rooms like navigating a crypt. The library, the office, the small medical room, all meticulously clean to the point of feeling lifeless. One thing caught his eye: the largest painting in the living room, depicting a man rescuing a girl from a fire, hung slightly crooked compared to the others. Andrew frowned. He stepped closer, lifted the painting. Behind it was a small round hatch, discreet like an old safe. Inside it, a black hard drive and a worn-out mini camera. His heart pounded. Oh God, what the hell is this? Back at the station, Andrew plugged the drive into his personal computer. The screen stayed black for a moment, then a folder appeared titled Confession. He opened the first video. The footage was shaky, from a low angle, clearly hidden camera. The frame showed a child's bedroom, pastel-colored walls, stuffed animals, and a nightlight shaped like an angel. And a girl, about 8 years old, Anna, huddled on the bed. The door swung open. Edward entered. No lab coat. No smile. Just a man with dark eyes, holding a cup of milk. Had a good sleep, sweetheart? Not yet. Do you know why I'm here? Because I'm the gift God gave you. Good girl. He sat beside her, stroking her hair. She flinched but didn't move. I've been very busy today. But I didn't forget you. Yes, sir. Remember to be good. Don't talk to Mary. Don't ask about your mother. Don't tell anyone what we do at night. Anna nodded, her eyes vacant. Edward leaned in, kissed her on the forehead, then her cheek, then her lips. The girl shivered. Beautiful. The older you get, the more you look like an angel. Could you turn off the light? Not yet. I want to see you. You are my light. Andrew gasped for air. His hand gripped the mouse so hard it cracked. He couldn't bear to watch, but he had to. The next video, Anna tied to a wooden table. Edward looked into the camera and smiled. Today's her birthday. We're going to celebrate in a special way. He stopped the playback. At a small cafe near the Lower East Side Plaza, Andrew met Anna again. Do you want to see it? Anna shook her head. No. I already lived it. All you need to do is believe me. I don't just believe you. I know. He handed her a copy of the footage, his gaze softening. I'm going to submit this to my superiors. We can reopen the case. Anna gave a bitter smile. A case? He's dead. No one wants to desecrate the grave of a martyr. We don't have to dig up his grave. Just pull back the curtain. The media erupted again after Andrew leaked a short few-second clip to investigative reporter Natalie Foster from the New York Post. The video didn't show Edward's face, but it clearly showed an adult's hand touching a little girl and the familiar voice saying, "You are the gift God gave me." The article was titled, "Angel or Monster? The Dark Corners of Edward Smith's Life." Online comments shifted. I used to worship him. Now I feel sick. If it's true, Anna deserves a public apology. Don't trust edited clips. Just a smear campaign against a dead man. In a small conference room at the police station, Captain Henry Walker slammed his hand on the table. Harris, what do you think you're doing? Distributing illegal footage? Interviewing a victim without supervision? I didn't distribute it. I gave it to the press. They released it. What's the difference? You've dragged this department into a media firestorm. The Department of the Interior is calling every damn minute. So we stay silent. Let him stay canonized forever. Even with a living survivor. She has a history of mental instability. He has a Presidential Medal of Freedom. And he has a video of him raping an 8-year-old. I have it. The room fell silent. Henry sighed and sat down. Give me everything you've got. I'll start an internal investigation team. But Harris, if you step out of line one more time, I won't be able to save you. That night, Anna sat alone in her motel room, staring at the computer screen frozen on the face of the 8-year-old girl. She whispered. Thank you, for surviving this long. Thank you for not dying the way he wanted. The doorbell rang. Anna stepped out. Andrew was standing there, holding an envelope. A forensic report, signed by Edward himself. Dated 10 years ago. There's a name Lily. Anna froze. Lily. You know her? No, but that name. I used to call it out in my sleep. The headquarters of the New Hope Foundation stood on Fifth Avenue, white stone facade, American flags fluttering above. It was once a symbol of pride for New York, a place where Edward had supposedly saved hundreds of children from life on the streets. Andrew sat in his car across the street, holding the foundation's internal adoption records. It was nearly midnight. The office lights were still on. He texted. Anna, I'm going in. If I don't come out in 30 minutes, call Rachel. The message was marked as read instantly. Inside, he was greeted by a middle-aged man with a courteous demeanor that felt too polished. The man extended his hand and spoke sweetly. Officer Harris. James Peterson, current executive director of the foundation. How may I assist you? I need to see records of children who lived in Edward's mansion. James frowned. I'm sorry, that residence was not part of our official facilities. I know. But you're aware of who founded this organization? Of course. The Honorable Edward Smith. Then I trust the Honorable Mr. Smith would want you to provide me with the original records. I'm going to need a warrant. Andrew smiled and pulled a USB drive from his jacket. Then how do you explain this footage, Edward in a bedroom with an 8-year-old girl? And this recording of him saying, "You are my light"? James went pale. 30 minutes later, Andrew walked out with the internal records, 12 girls who had been under Edward's private guardianship through a program called In-Home Special Care. None remained in contact. 4 were listed as having died from illness, 3 were relocated overseas, and 5 were lost contact. But one name made his hands shake, Lily Harris, born in 2011. He snapped a photo of the record, zooming in on the guardian field, Edward Smith. Back at the motel, Anna stared at Lily's file on the laptop screen. The name pierced through her subconscious like a needle. Lily. Do you remember anything? Andrew asked. Anna was silent for a moment, then exhaled. I'm not sure. But once. I asked Edward if I had a sister. And what did he say? He laughed. Then he slapped me. After that, he stuffed a towel in my mouth and locked me in a room with dead cats for 3 days. I thought I'd die from the smell. Andrew clenched his fists. He erased Lily's name from the birth certificate. All her records were wiped in 2017. But I found one old photo. He showed her an image, 2 young girls standing in front of a Christmas tree, both in white dresses. One was Anna, her face terrified. The other was a younger girl, Lily, smiling brightly. Anna burst into tears. She's the girl I saw in my dreams. But I wasn't sure she was real. I thought she was a hallucination. She's not. You remember. Your mind just locked it away to survive. So that girl, is she dead? Not necessarily. We'll find out. The next morning, Andrew met with Dr. Brianna Thompson, a psychologist who had once been rejected by Edward for being too old to mold. Brianna welcomed him into her Upper West Side office. Her voice was calm, but her gaze sharp. Edward Smith. You bring up that name after 17 years. You knew he turned you down because of your age? I was 14. He said, any girl with fire in her eyes isn't right for me. I knew what he was. But no one believed me. Do you know anything about a girl named Lily? Brianna paused. I remember a girl named Anna whispering during an art session, Lily lost her name. Now it's just me. She was programmed to forget her sister. Yes. But not with drugs. With fear. When a child is scared enough, memory erases itself to survive. Andrew looked down at his list. 3 girls listed as accidental deaths, 2 as suicides. Lily may be the only one still alive. Brianna frowned. And if she is, she won't trust anyone. She'll panic. Because to her, Edward was everything: the torturer, the god, the father, the prison. Online, independent investigation groups began searching for Lily. An anonymous user posted on the forum Dark USA. Anyone remember a girl named Lily featured in Hope for Christmas 2015? The video was taken down from YouTube. Someone replied. I'm a former nurse. I once saw that girl taken into an MRI room without a valid medical order. The information was scattered, vague but enough to push Andrew into a decision. He called Anna. I want you to meet someone. Who? Someone who lived under the same hell and survived. Anna arrived at Brianna's office. The 2 women looked at each other for a long time. Then Anna asked. Did he ever touch you? No. But he looked at me like prey. I don't remember everything. But every time someone says Lily, I get chills down my spine. That feeling is real. Memory doesn't lie. Brianna placed her hand over Anna's. If Lily is alive, she's scared. But if she sees your face, someone who's been there, who's still standing, maybe she'll believe she's not alone. Anna nodded, tears welling again. If we find Lily, I'll never let her be locked away again. The night wind rustled through brittle tree branches, whispering like the voices of forgotten souls. Andrew returned to Edward's mansion, this time with an official warrant issued by the 7th District Court. In his hands were a flashlight, an old blueprint of the property, and Edward's handwritten journal found by Anna in a discarded box. Something's off, Andrew muttered, flipping through the brittle pages until he stopped at a scribbled line. 3 a.m. basement must remain locked. The crying is getting louder. He aimed his flashlight toward the stairs leading down to the wine cellar. The thick wooden door had been sealed with 2 metal bolts. He powered up his electric drill, clenched his teeth, and began dismantling it. The cellar was freezing, reeking of mildew, moss crawling up the walls. Under the beam of his flashlight, Andrew saw old wooden wine barrels stacked on top of one another, some rotting and leaking dark red liquid like dried blood. He checked the left wall. According to the blueprint behind it was supposed to be an empty cavity. But now, it had been sealed shut with uneven, handmade concrete. This is it, he whispered, and began to drill into the wall. Each hole cut into the cement felt like tearing into the past. An hour passed. Sweat ran down his neck. Then, finally, a small opening broke through. From inside came a sound that froze his blood. Hic, help. A child's cry. Clear. Real. But impossible. He stumbled back, heart pounding like a war drum. No, they're all dead. There's no way someone is still in there. He strapped on his headlamp and continued drilling. Chunks of concrete fell heavily to the ground. Finally, the space behind the wall was revealed, a small room about 3 square meters in size, with old stone walls and a low ceiling. There was no one inside. Only a rusted iron bed frame, still tied with leather restraints. Stains of dried blood smearing the floor, stretching from the wall to the foot of the bed. An old camera mounted on a stand, still functional, its red light blinking. And dozens of pieces of paper, scrawled with shaky writing, the edges soaked in blood. Andrew picked one up and tried to read it. I am Lily. I'm cold. I'm scared. Another one read. He comes back at 3 a.m. Don't sleep. A larger sheet, the handwriting trembling. Help me. I'm Anna's sister. Andrew dropped to his knees, his hands shaking as if with fever. He didn't know whether he was angry, terrified, or just too late to cry. At Brianna's clinic, Anna stared at the old camera Andrew brought in. This one, it looks like the one he used to hang in my room. It still works. It might have data stored on it. You actually heard crying. I swear to God. I heard a little girl. Like, someone trapped in time. It could be Lily. Or maybe, a part of me I forgot. Andrew turned on the device and connected the camera to the monitor. A list of videos appeared, marked by date. Most were empty room footage, yellow light, stone walls, and the sound of labored breathing. But one clip, nearly 2 minutes long, left all three speechless. A girl around 6 years old, hair tangled, skin and bones thin, wearing a torn nightgown, stood in the middle of the room. She looked directly into the camera. My name is Lily. I don't remember anything anymore. Someone told me I'm the child of the devil. I don't believe it. I remember singing, you sang to me. Then you disappeared. I don't know who you are. But if you're alive, please don't forget me. The video cut out. The room fell into absolute silence. Anna collapsed into the chair, clutching her head. I used to sing to Lily. When we were little. When he was asleep, I'd hide under the blanket with her and sing. Brianna spoke gently. The memories are coming back. You're not crazy, Anna. Andrew gripped Anna's hand tightly. That voice wasn't a hallucination. It was real. Lily was there. Andrew submitted a report to his superiors along with Lily's video. A week later, a multi-agency investigation unit was established. Search warrants were issued for Edward's other properties. On television, the anchor's voice was grave. The case involving Mr. Edward Smith has entered a new phase after a camera containing a child's cry for help was found in his mansion's basement. Police have not confirmed the identity of the victim, but the media has dubbed her the 3 a.m. ghost. At the New Hope Foundation headquarters, James Peterson was summoned. He sat stiffly, his collar soaked in sweat. I didn't know anything about the basement. I only took over after Mr. Edward passed away. Rachel, now a representative of the district attorney's office, laid a document on the table. Is this your handwriting? A 2016 cement invoice, signed by James Peterson, delivered to the Smith estate. I was following instructions from Mr. Edward's secretary. And who was that secretary? Lucy Morgan. Andrew interjected. The one who disappeared in 2018. James fell silent. That evening, Anna went down to the basement with Andrew. She looked at the blood-stained notes. I remember now. Once I heard her crying. I knocked on his door and asked, "Where's Lily?" He slapped me and said, "There's no Lily. You're imagining things." Andrew said nothing. I wasn't crazy, Andrew. I was just too young to trust my own memories. And now, we'll find your sister. Whether she's alive or not. We're not giving up. The sealed room inside the Special Investigation Bureau glowed faintly from 4 large monitors. One by one, raw, unedited video clips extracted from Edward's old mansion cameras played. No music, no effects, no edits, just raw, suffocating truth. Andrew sat beside Anna, holding a notebook. Brianna stayed in the corner, observing like a memory analyst. In front of them played a nearly 10-minute video of Anna at around 5 years old. The little girl sat on the floor, back against the wall. In front of her was a tall man in a white lab coat with no name tag, wearing a black mask covering half his face. His voice was monotone, machine-like and cold. What's your name? Anna. What will you say if someone asks why you live with Dr. Edward? Because he saved me. What will you say if they ask if he touched you? Yes, but because he loves me. Do you believe that's true? Yes. Why? Because, he is God. Andrew leaned back in his chair and exhaled sharply. Dear God, they programmed her like a doll. Anna said nothing. Her eyes were locked on the image of the little girl on screen herself, but hollow, silent, like a living corpse. Brianna walked over and gently asked. Anna, do you remember the man with the mask? No. But his voice, it sounds familiar. Andrew nodded. We're running a voice analysis. He may be linked to a group called the Chosen Ones. Anna frowned. What group? A religious extremist organization. The Chosen Ones. They were once investigated for child trafficking, training kids for covert political missions. The case files were buried later due to lack of evidence. Was I one of those children? We're still investigating. But, possibly, Anna. In another video clip, Anna, around 8 years old, now sat in the middle of a room. She wasn't crying or smiling. She simply stared at the wall. The masked man appeared again, this time in the same room where Lily had been held. You will say Edward touched you since you were 2. I don't remember. You don't need to. You just need to believe it. But, what if it's not true? Truth is made by the powerful. You are weak. You must obey. Brianna stopped the video and turned to Andrew. This is a textbook case of cognitive manipulation. The child's perception of truth and falsehood is shattered to mold them into tools. Anna quietly asked. So. I was a tool. Andrew clenched his hand and answered honestly. Maybe they intended to use you as a weapon against Edward, or maybe Edward himself was part of their group, and he betrayed them. I was nothing. Not a person. Not even an object. Just a puppet. No, Brianna cut in firmly. You are a survivor. 3 days later, Andrew received a classified file from former Inspector Stephen Hayes, who had led the investigation into the Chosen Ones 10 years earlier. They met at an old bar in the Lower East Side. I remember you, Stephen said, setting down his whiskey. The rookie officer who was already a stubborn pain. And I remember you as the only man at the Interior Department who dared to speak the truth. You're digging into dangerous ground now. Just a warning, no one's going to be happy. I need to know how Edward was tied to that cult. He wasn't just tied. He collaborated. Stephen pulled out a photo, Edward standing among 3 men wearing priest-like robes, the cult symbol printed on their shoulders, a bleeding eye inside a spiral. Back in 2003, he worked with them to provide trial drugs for the children being trained. But by 2008, he was planning to turn state witness. And then they gave him a parting gift from the organization, a 2-year-old girl named Anna. Andrew jumped to his feet. They gave Anna to him. Yes. Not out of affection. But as punishment. That little girl was the biological daughter of the cult's leader, and Edward knew it. At Brianna's clinic, Andrew recounted the entire truth. Anna sat frozen. Not from shock but from emptiness. I'm the daughter of a monster. No, Andrew said, eyes locked on hers. You're a victim. But now you have a choice, to stay a puppet, or cut the strings yourself. Anna laughed dry and bitter. What strings are left? They bound me for 17 years. By the time they let go, I wasn't even a person anymore. Brianna walked over and placed a small notebook into Anna's hands. Write. Every fragment of memory, every pain, every question you never dared to ask. That's how you find yourself again. Anna turned to the first page. Her hand trembled. But she wrote. The first line. I don't know who I am. But I know this, I lived. And I'm still breathing. The New York night was damp, though there was no rain. Andrew sat in his small office, the glow of the laptop screen casting shadows over his exhausted, determined face. Before him lay the classified file on the Chosen Ones that Stephen Hayes had sent. Over 200 pages, but one page chilled him to the bone. Gift number 27, Anna V., delivered to target Edward Smith. Purpose, neutralize witness. Andrew frowned and typed rapidly. Data from international servers showed that Anna had never been adopted by Edward out of goodwill. She was a product selected, trained, and thrown to the man the cult wanted to punish. He called Brianna in the middle of the night. "You need to come here. Bring Anna with you." "What's going on?" "She needs to know the final truth. No more guesses. No more missing pieces. Everything is clear now." An hour later, Brianna and Anna arrived. Anna wore a gray hoodie, her hair tied up high, eyes deep like a bottomless well. Andrew turned the screen on. "Anna. This is a photo taken in 2008, in an underground meeting room in Hudson Valley. Look at the man in the middle. Edward." "Yes. But who's standing next to him?" Anna stared at the man in a suit, no mask, silver hair, eyes sharp as blades. I don't know." Brianna narrowed her eyes. "Look closer, Anna. Do you feel like you've seen him before? Maybe in a dream?" Anna stepped back. "He used to stand next to me, when I was 5. I remember, his hand was cold. He called me a gift." Andrew nodded. "That's Matthew Smith. A fake name. He's the leader of the chosen ones. And, he's your biological father." The room went still. Anna gasped, lips quivering, eyes wide with tears ready to fall. No way. I don't have a father. My mother died giving birth. That's what Edward told me. He lied. And worse, he knew the truth. He knew you were the daughter of the leader of a child trafficking cult. But instead of saving you, he kept you, as a tool for his own perversion." Anna whispered, barely able to breathe. He knew. He knew all of it, and still did that to me. He once planned to expose the cult. But when he realized they were watching him, he kept you as living proof, thinking they wouldn't kill him if he had you." Brianna quietly wept. "No one saved you. Everyone used you as a shield. You're not a puppet. You're a living wound." Anna laughed bitterly. "I'm the consequence. Of a betraying doctor. Of a deranged cult. Of a world that didn't care." Andrew sat beside her. "No. You are a witness. A survivor. A truth that can't be buried." 3 days later, a shocking press conference took place in front of the United States Supreme Court. Andrew stepped up to the podium, voice low but unwavering. "I am Inspector Andrew Harris. I am here to present evidence proving that Dr. Edward Smith, a man once hailed as a national hero, was the mastermind behind decades of abuse, torture, and psychological programming of children. We also confirm the existence of the organization The Chosen Ones, an international trafficking cult, with ties to high-level figures in politics and healthcare." The square erupted. Cameras flashed non-stop. A reporter shouted, "Do you have a living witness?" "Yes." Andrew stepped aside. Anna emerged, wearing a white blouse and gray jeans. She stood tall, face bare of makeup, eyes red but steady. "My name is Anna. I lived with Edward Smith since I was 2. He beat me, locked me up, brainwashed me. But I'm still alive. And I will speak no matter who threatens me." A journalist asked, "Did you know you were a tool for a cult?" Anna nodded. "I didn't know if I was a victim, or a weapon. But now I know, I won't be silent anymore." International police coordinated to arrest over 17 high-level individuals connected to the cult, including prominent figures from Canada, Mexico, and Panama. But Matthew Smith, Anna's biological father, remained at large. The media began calling Anna the 3 a.m. girl, and headlines shifted. Victim or survivor? Justice for Anna and for Lily? Brianna was granted temporary legal guardianship to assist Anna with recovery. Andrew continued leading the investigation. Late one night, in her office, Brianna asked. Andrew, do you think Anna will be okay? I don't know. She's broken body and soul. But I've never seen anyone rise from that and still keep that look in their eyes. What kind of look? A look that doesn't ask for forgiveness. Only truth. That night, Anna opened her journal. On a fresh page, she wrote. The monster is dead. But I'm still alive. I will live for me, and for Lily. She didn't know if Lily was alive. But if her sister was still breathing at least, she would know someone was waiting. Snow fell softly on the slopes of the Adirondacks. An old wooden house lay hidden among pine trees, its tin roof rusted, walls stained with mold, as if time and the world had forgotten it. Andrew stood at the door, his gloves trembling from the cold and something else. A strange certainty. A pull. The door opened. A nervous-looking middle-aged man peeked out. Who are you? Police. I need to speak to a girl named Lily. There's no one here by that name. This is her photo. Andrew held out the image from the old camera. And this is a special court-issued search warrant. The man hesitated for a moment, then stepped aside. Come in. Just, please don't scare her any more than she already is. At the end of the hall was a small room. Andrew stepped in, and his heart tightened. A girl sat curled up on a mattress on the floor, wrapped in a blanket. Her hair was long, tangled like it hadn't been brushed in years. Her eyes were wide, black, hollow as a bottomless pit. Her hair snow-white. Not from age, but from terror accumulated over time. Lily? She didn't respond. Your name is Lily Smith. You were born in 2011. Your sister's name is Anna. Do you remember? Still nothing. Andrew sat gently on the edge of the bed and spoke softly. Your sister is alive. She's been through everything, just to find you. Lily's eyes fluttered. A whisper, like wind brushing through leaves. She didn't die. At the Brianna Thompson Trauma Recovery Center, Anna stepped out of the car on shaky legs. She had waited her whole life for this moment, never daring to believe it could happen. She might refuse to see me, Anna said softly, her voice breaking. Brianna held her hand. If Lily is alive, you're the only light she remembers. The door opened. Andrew stepped out, eyes red. She recognized your voice. The moment I played the recording of you singing. Anna trembled. Did she say anything? Just one sentence. I think you should hear it from her. Anna entered the room. Lily sat by the window, sunlight touching her white hair. When she saw Anna, her entire body went stiff. Silence. 2 seconds. Then 5. Finally, Lily stood, stumbling on her words like a child learning to speak. You're still alive. I thought you were dead. Anna broke down in tears. She ran to her sister, falling to her knees and wrapping her arms around her. Both collapsed to the floor, sobbing, tearing down every wall memory had built. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I left you. No, it wasn't your fault. I heard you singing every night. I never forgot. I was there. But I couldn't save you. I was helpless. I was scared. You didn't leave me. I know that. I know. Outside, Brianna and Andrew stood in silence, their vision blurred with tears. Andrew whispered. Sometimes justice doesn't come from a courtroom. It comes from hugs like this. 1 week later, Anna and Lily were living together at the Brianna Center, in a sunlit room filled with children's drawings and windows that opened toward a garden of purple flowers. Lily had begun to smile again, just faintly, and not yet out loud, but it was enough to make Anna feel her heart warm for the first time. I missed you so much, Lily. I thought I was the last one left. No. You're not alone anymore. Brianna entered, holding a file. Lily, are you ready to answer a few questions? Lily nodded. When you were little, did you ever see strange men? Yes, they wore masks. They said, "You are Anna's replica. You'll replace her if she breaks." Anna tightened her grip on her sister's hand. You're not a replica. You're you. Lily smiled faintly, her eyes shimmering. You're not a puppet either. You're the first real person I've ever seen stand up. That night was peaceful for the first time in 17 years. Anna slept deeply. No nightmares. No footsteps. No white coats. Only Lily's steady breathing beside the bed, and the soft wind brushing through the open window. The next morning, Anna walked down to the kitchen, where Andrew was making coffee. You stayed the night. I wanted to make sure, you're really okay. For the first time in my life, I feel okay. Truly. Good. Because there's one last thing. He took out an envelope. All the old birth certificates, along with voice identification of the masked man. We finally have grounds to prosecute the organization. Anna frowned. I want to testify. I know. I want to tell the world, I'm not a victim. I'm a survivor. And so is my sister. Andrew smiled. And this time, we're not alone. New York Supreme Court, Monday morning. The hallway was packed with people, camera lenses lined up like a battlefield. Judicial staff, police, and journalists weaved through one another, whispering words like, cult, Edward Smith, survivor girl. In the waiting room, Anna wore a white blouse, hair tied up, her face uncannily calm. Beside her, Lily sat silently, her hand never letting go of her sister's. Brianna adjusted Anna's collar and whispered. You don't need to prove anything. You're already living proof. Anna smiled softly. No. I want to speak in my own voice. I won't let others speak for me anymore. Andrew entered, placing a thick folder on the table. Are you ready? Anna nodded. I've been ready since the day he died and I was still breathing. The trial opened with the presentation of evidence. The prosecutor played a short video, Edward Smith in a bedroom, his hand on the shoulder of an 8-year-old girl. His voice echoed through the silent courtroom. You are the gift God gave me. A wave of murmurs spread across the room. A female judge banged her gavel. Order. The prosecutor continued. In addition to the video recordings, we have testimony from psychologists, eyewitnesses, and most importantly from Anna Smith herself, the survivor of 17 years of abuse. The judge nodded. Ms. Anna, please take the stand. Anna stood up. Each step she took rang out like a drumbeat striking old wounds. She faced the jury. No notes, no prompts. Only the truth. My name is Anna Smith. I don't know my real last name. I lived with Dr. Edward from the age of 2. Outsiders called him my foster father. To me, he was hell. He beat me with wire hangers, locked me in closets, made me believe I was worthless if I wasn't obedient. Every night, he would enter my room and say, "You are the gift," and then do things I can't fully describe here. I once told a teacher. The next day, he poured boiling water on my hand. I used to believe I was an object. But now I know, I am a person. And I will not be silent anymore. The courtroom held its breath. Anna bowed slightly, then stepped down, her eyes sharp as a sword drawn from its sheath. During the lunch break, Anna sat in the hallway. Lily approached and hugged her tightly. You're so brave. No. I just said what should have been said long ago. What about me? I didn't speak up like you did. Anna smiled, placing her hand over Lily's chest. You survived. That's enough. I'll speak for the both of us. Brianna nodded from a distance. Andrew sat across from them, his eyes misty but his voice steady. After today's hearing, international authorities captured Matthew Smith, your biological father, at the Mexican border. He's on his way to New York for extradition. Anna closed her eyes. I don't know what to call him. But I know this, I'm not afraid anymore. That afternoon, the prosecution called its final witness, Dr. Brianna Thompson. I once lived in the orphanage Edward built. He refused to adopt me because I was hard to control. Years later, I became a psychologist and met Anna again, pulled from the darkness. I can confirm, Anna does not suffer from hallucinations. She remembers everything. Her mind simply locked the memories away for survival. And one crucial point, what she described matches exactly with the actions of the Chosen Ones, a cult exposed for trafficking children and using them as tools for political and sexual manipulation. The judge asked, Dr. Brianna, does Anna have a chance at recovery? No one returns to being normal after hell. But Anna survived. And she lives with kindness. Toward her sister, and toward herself. That's enough. After 2 weeks of proceedings, the court reached a verdict. Hundreds gathered outside the courthouse, thousands watched the live broadcast. The judge stood, voice clear. The United States Court hereby declares, Dr. Edward Smith, though deceased, is found guilty of child abuse, psychological torture, and the use of minors as tools for cognitive manipulation. The Chosen Ones organization is classified as an international criminal cult. All related assets shall be seized. High-ranking members are under arrest. Matthew Smith, the organization's leader, will face public trial in the next session. The court declares Anna Smith the official victim of a 17-year-long crime and grants her the right to seek reparation for dignity, health, and personhood. The courtroom erupted. Many wept. Even Anna couldn't hold back her tears. Lily hugged her tightly, whispering, We're free now. Anna nodded. Yes. This time, truly free. 2 months later, the Brianna Recovery Center hosted an art exhibit called Rekindling the Gaze, displaying paintings by children who had survived abuse. One painting drew the most attention, 2 girls holding hands in a dark forest, a bright star shining above them. In the bottom right corner, messy handwriting read, Lily and Anna, sisters forever. Anna stood before it, hand in hand with Lily, and for the first time, smiled without bitterness. Andrew stepped forward and held out a train ticket. A ticket to Montauk. There's an old lighthouse there. It's very quiet. Might be a good place to start over. Anna took the ticket. And you? I don't know. But I think I'll come, if you'll have me. Lily giggled. If you make better coffee than Dr. Brianna, then you're allowed. That night, Anna wrote the final page in her journal. The monster is dead. But I am alive. And I will live for me, and for Lily. The story of Anna and Lily reminds us that sometimes, evil wears the mask of kindness and hides in plain sight, praised as heroic. But the truth cannot stay buried forever. Courage, family, and perseverance can tear down any disguise and psychological chains. Those who were once victims deserve to be heard, to be protected, and to live as full human beings. Justice doesn't come from perfection but from the courage to face the most painful truths.
If you enjoyed this story, we invite you to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Your support motivates us to keep bringing heartwarming stories almost every day. We are very grateful for your support. See you soon.